we can call the meeting to order. This is the first meeting of the Business Improvement District Number 4 Board. We do have an agenda that was posted. The first step on there is the call to order, which we've done. The second step is to elect a chair and vice chair of the board. Do we have any volunteers?
I nominate Jason Bradley.
All right, we have a nomination for Jason Bradley to serve as chair. Are there any other nominations for the chair? If not, do we want to have a nomination for vice chair?
Do you want to vote on this one first?
We can, or do I?
Okay.
You-
Unanimous ballot.
Vice chair? Jason, this is the perfect time for you to throw somebody else.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
All right, so we have vice chair nomination for Austin. Are there?
Austin.
Volunteer.
Okay, can I get a motion to have a unanimous ballot cast for Jason Bradley as chair and Austin Iverson as vice chair?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Who did the Sam?
Yeah.
Sam.
Sam?
All understanding, so
All right,
it's
Yeah.
fine.
second by Sam. All right, so with that, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
I
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, congratulations to our new chair and vice chair.
Yeah, what's the pay?
It's, I'll leave it at, it's not very substantial. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the consider recommendation on the proposed ordinance to establish Business Improvement District Number 4. The ordinance was previously provided to the board members for review. Stephanie, do you want to, I know you were talking to Tim about it before the meeting, but do you want to go over some of the history of it?
Sure. We currently have a bid in place that expires in really two different phases. One is our capital portion of it, which should be ending about January of 2024. The rest is the portion of the bid fund that goes to the Sports and Events Authority, and that would continue through, I believe, October. Knowing that these two end dates were coming up, city staff and some of the elected officials had been meeting with some hotel owners, saying, what can we do to renew this? One of the biggest suggestions that we received back from at least the members that they have visited with is the way we did our bid district before was really cumbersome and hard to follow because it was really 5 or 6 different amended resolutions. And so it was kind of hard to track what we were doing. We were given some direction to look at what some of the other first-class cities were doing and to try to model our language after what they were doing. So what we did is we went and we got the ordinances from all the first-class municipalities, and we took the most consistent language from each of those to put into our ordinance. This would be codifying the bid, which basically just puts it into city code so it's all easier to find. It would also implement the bid at $2 per room per night. The bid board is created by the ordinance, and then this board annually would meet and determine what the budget will be. You'll say, okay, we want this much of the bid that is collected this year to go towards this. We want this much to go to the Sports and Events Authority to bring in entertainment, not entertainment, events to town. But that budget would be set by the bid board and recommended to council. That was probably one of the number one things that we heard from the people we visited with at that time, is that they wanted to have some more oversight and insight as to how those funds were being spent. Trying to think of anything else.
Yeah, so I think that covers a lot of the background on it. I think the only other two notable changes that I can really think of is the new role of the bid board in recommending the budget. That's kind of one of the big changes from how the existing bid works. And then the other change would be in how we're doing the boundaries and the hotels that qualify, because currently it's all of the hotels in the city, and it's all mapped out by parcels, and they all have to be connected and everything. The way that we're doing it with this one is it's just the hotels. You're not specifically setting out the property boundaries or anything like that. You're just saying it's all the hotels, motels, and lodging establishments in Mitchell. If occupancy numbers change for a hotel or a new one comes in, they can get automatically added or removed as necessary. And then there is an exclusion of hotels that are under 28 rooms. So that would be,
Yep, and both of those items were consistent in all of the other ordinances that we viewed. That's how they were all set up. So again, we brought that in from the language from the other cities to be consistent with what they're doing.
So why 28?
I guess that was, it was 27 when it got to me, and then there was one hotel that was like right on the bubble, so we changed it to 28. I wasn't part of those initial discussions.
I do know that there is one hotel, the Coach Light, who currently sits on the SEA, who feels that his hotel was too small to benefit from the events and things that were coming to town with the bid. So initially, that was just the number they gave us to start with, those hotels over that size. If this group would like to recommend a change to that ordinance, this would be the time to do it if you wanted to look at a different number.
I don't even know what hotels we would be excluding.
I know
mean,
that
like the
one.
Coach Light was the one that came into
Yeah.
my mind.
That is the only one.
Based on the numbers that we have, they would exclude the Budget Inn, Coach Light, and Siesta, just those three.
We collect that tax from the guest, right, from the customer.
Yep,
Right.
So hotel is hotel, does not matter it's 10 rooms or 15 rooms. If they don't want to run as a hotel, then we can say, you don't need a license, it's apartment or something. Like
Yeah.
That's my personal
Opinions.
opinions.
right.
You know,
I mean, to an extent there, I mean, nothing against any of the other people who've got the smaller hotels as well. I mean, mine's definitely not the dime of the whole group either. But the thing is, right, if you want to operate it as a monthly residence, then great. And even if somebody comes in with it, there is an event, they might be looking for your budget room. If the small hotel, even if it was $100 because it was a nice boutique hotel, or maybe it was $40 in that, I still think a hotel is a hotel. So,
other things is when we collect the tax, I don't know that's rules here, but should be, if anybody stays over 30 days,
Mhm.
they don't have to pay any tax.
Yep, that's correct.
So then you can tell, hey, 20 rooms, that's a hotel, they can pay up to 30 days, $30 or $60,
Mhm.
and then you can
Yep.
do like tax exempt or something like that.
Yep.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
You know, after all, if they're running as a hotel, hotel is hotel, but we can, whatever the figure you guys figure out, 20 rooms, 25 rooms, 50 rooms, I don't mind, but
Right. I think,
usually after 30 days, they don't have to pay any salaries
Right.
or nothing, so.
yeah, because we've got monthlies too, and then that's a whole separate ballgame.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't pay the tax, or the bid tax on those monthly stays. That's correct.
Right.
And that's set by state statute. It's, I think, 28 days or more.
Yeah.
They do not,
Right.
they do not have to pay the tax on those.
And unless,
I just, to what you're saying, there are certain events that people are staying at those smaller.
yeah,
I mean, we hear that during the course of the year at the sports,
Right.
event authority meetings, the car show, this kind of thing. They're looking to stay at the smaller
right.
places, but
And just,
Unless if anybody gives me a different reason, I would think that all hotels abide by the same set of rules. I mean, 28 or 48 rooms or less, whatever the.
it was
Yeah.
28 or less.
Yeah,
right?
currently it's
Or more.
28 or, yeah.
Or more.
It's a hunting season or the Coda
Mhm.
Fest, people need the rooms and everybody
Yeah.
just kick out the monthly,
Yeah.
but they need more money and just rent the regular. So hotel is hotel.
Yeah, and, the recommendation here is coming from the board.
Yeah, so you guys can-
When you make your recommendation, if you want to include in there that you believe it should apply to all the hotels and not exclude any based on the number of rooms that they have, you can do that as part of your recommendation.
And I don't know if
It's up to you.
I don't have my information with me, but I do believe the more consistent number was like at 20, wasn't it?
I think so.
So when I looked at other cities that were excluding, it was all like 20 rooms or less, hotel rooms. And that was only in, I don't even think all cities had that exclusion, just a couple did.
Well, let me put it this way though, too. I mean, as an Airbnb, that would not be into the bid tax. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only $2, right?
I know.
But in the same sense, if we're trying to do a one size fits all, there are people that come to our town stay at Airbnbs. That's just my 2 cents.
And they don't meet the definition in.
At this
Right.
point, I don't think that they do, no.
Oh, right. And I mean, it's $2, right?
Right.
But I mean, shouldn't it be, it's all the same premise.
And-
It's towards revenue for our town, for
Right.
bringing events in and everything.
I know.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think we've had discussion on that in the past, and I know that there were a couple of like campgrounds that were considering
Well,
charging it voluntarily and
I
passing
can tell you,
it
the
along,
city of
but-
Mitchell, we do charge the bid tax on our campground, and that goes right into the bid, even though campgrounds aren't covered, so, and it's like almost 10,000 a year, I want to say, that we're adding to that SEA fund
So
right
the
now.
campgrounds are being charged?
No, just, we're doing it voluntarily, the city of
The
Mitchell
city
is,
campground.
but the
Oh.
other campgrounds are not required to, but we do that just because sometimes when people are coming in for events, they are staying at the campground too, like of the Tour de Corn, some of the other events, so.
I think just as much as there's a concert here and somebody's
Yeah.
staying at the Quality Inn, somebody's going to rent the Airbnb downtown.
Yeah.
I
We,
think it's all
we
the
have
same thing.
talked about ways to either implement a fee or something on those Airbnbs to try to make it equivalent, but we can't charge the bid on it.
Yeah,
right now.
at this point, we don't have a separate licensing program for Airbnbs and stuff in town. That's been discussed in the past, which that would really be the way to implement something like this for the
So at
Airbnbs.
this point, you can't implement a $2 on an Airbnb and extended stay thing?
Not via this business improvement district. If we were to do that, we'd have to do it via some other ordinance.
Okay.
Because they don't meet the definition in state law.
So no other cities have them included either in their?
Not in their business improvement
Not in the-
district.
yeah.
There are other cities that do regulate the Airbnbs, and they probably have some kind of fee or
Become
The fee
more and
assessed
more.
to it, yeah.
Well,
All the time.
I know it's a separate issue, but I think we should open up for more Airbnbs, but also impose
Yeah,
these
I
sort of
agree with you.
licensings and everything,
Yep.
make it more commercial. But regardless, are you guys just looking for a motion then in order to make for the recommendation for the room count to be inclusive of all hotels then?
So
Sure, you could start with that.
If you want to do that part separately,
Me too.
you can do a motion to recommend that part be taken out, and then do a separate motion to recommend the ordinance itself, or you can do them as a combined motion.
Can you go back to that
Oh.
spreadsheet that showed all the rooms?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
would also recommend that as well.
How many
Well,
total
then,
rooms
yeah.
all the time?
Excuse me?
How many rooms all the town, Mitchell?
I can't see that far
Sorry?
away.
907.
Is this on too, guys? Is the TV on?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. And we do know there's another hotel opening in town as well.
Probably within the next
So I
year.
have a question. you guys.
They started yesterday.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Excuse me. So if anybody proposed a new hotel in the town, do you guys, I know it's okay if you have good occupancy and it's okay too, but if it's small hotel coming to the town, do you guys have any restriction or anything? Like in past, I've seen the towns, that a lot of developer, they start to build a new hotel and they hurt the whole hotel business. And
Oh.
I've seen a lot of towns, they totally just, whatever the economy run, they started to die. This is my just personal opinion I have seen. So is there any rules or something like we have a certain hotels goes more than that, then we should stop it or something like that? Depends on the occupancy.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that in place now. Really, the restriction that might limit that is more of zoning and availability for those types of operations more than anything, so. There's not any standalone cap on the number of hotels or number of rooms or anything like that.
And actually, our number of rooms
Has
went
went
down.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys know occupancy, so what is that?
Yeah.
If it's one or two is coming, okay, but if someone, building.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
that coming, you
Yeah.
can,
Already.
And I
Yeah.
think even the one that is planning on opening is smaller in room size than what the Ramada was.
How many rooms are they building? My
I don't know.
That I don't.
my place.
Yeah, it's a My Place, but I don't remember how many rooms.
64, I think.
Six-
I was
okay.
gonna say it was just.
103.
70, if I remember right.
So, yeah,
No, this is 60.
64 or 103? I already talked to what is the dynamic?
I don't know what you were doing. Another question.
Jennings?
Jennings?
Jennings.
Oh,
oh,
okay.
Mark, yeah.
103 rooms બને.
Another question is, if someone is building a new hotel or something in the town, does the city help them or something, or provide any funds?
We typically have not. I'm not aware of any instance
The
that we
city
have
does
for
not.
hotels.
I don't know, there's always the Economic Development Corporation. I don't know if they assist, but the city does not provide any funds.
I'm trying to think.
The most that
Really,
we
the-
have done with any kind of like economic development in town would be through a TIF, where they're basically, it sets the base for the assessed value, and any increase in taxes goes back to the owner to pay for those improvements, so they get their taxes back through this TIF district grant. But since I've been here, which has been 8.5, 9 years now, we haven't done one for a hotel, so.
Okay, so then back to the joint motion deal with the whole Airbnb thing. So what did you say that we could do to recommend for a motion on the Airbnb side of things?
Oh,
To impose the bid on an Airbnb
Yeah,
when it comes?
I think the Airbnb part would be outside of the scope of this board.
Okay.
But we can certainly pass that on to the mayor and council, that was, kind of an informal recommendation coming out of
Right.
here, just
Well,
to regulate
Okay,
those.
so I mean, I would recommend, and I'm happy to have any other person's input in here as well, but I think that we need to have less barriers to entry for Airbnb and VRBOs, and then treat them as some sort of a sub-licensing, as some sort of a $2 bid also, and treat those as you would a normal commercial hotel, and have, like I said, less barriers to entry. So that's my recommendation.
okay.
And we can definitely pass that along to the mayor and council, see if they want
They are
to.
advertising on XP and everywhere right now.
Right.
Yep.
If you want to sell it, shoes at a hotel.
Yep.
If anybody is a hotel and retail, they should have it in the price.
It is a reoccurrent conversation that we've had, so it's probably
Yeah.
good to bring it back to the forefront again.
Yep,
And
good.
finally, all those money come for the development of the city. for
Yep,
us.
exactly.
Yeah, it's all, right.
All points.
And so then I would stick with the motion then, if we're going to do a single motion to include every hotel in on the bid.
Okay, so let me try to paraphrase it for you, okay? Does that work?
Yes, please.
Can we get a motion to recommend adopting the proposed ordinance with a recommendation that it apply to all hotels and not have a per-room exclusion? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
so Austin, that's your motion?
So if that's my motion, can I first it?
So, yeah, if
Okay.
that's your motion, then we need a second.
Okay. that's my-
Okay,
Is that Jason?
Jason, yeah?
I can't write this fast, guys. I'm not used to
So
this.
that would bring our number to what, 22? Okay.
Yep, so we'd just remove that number cap, and then it would apply to all the hotels.
You need a-
And ultimately, that it's a recommendation to council, so they're going to have to take the formal action to change it and modify it, or whatever they might do, but that'll be the recommendation of the board.
Or would it go as recommended by the board, though?
Because it still excludes anybody that's
Right.
an extended stay over 28 days.
Yep.
So now you're just including the hunters that stop in for 2 nights, which I feel should
Yeah,
be included.
we can take it to council with the
Recommendation.
numbers
over.
excluded, and if they want to add that number back in, they can. So, yeah, we'll make the change to the ordinance before it goes to council to remove that number cap on the rooms. And then if they feel the need to add that back in, they'd still have that chance, but that's the way it would be presented to them, is without that room limit. Okay,
I just feel better about that since it's coming as a recommendation that way
Right.
from this board.
that makes sense.
We need to vote.
Yeah, so we got the motion, we've got the second. Was there any further discussion, any other questions before we vote? If not, we'll go to the vote, and all those favors say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So we'll send it to council with that recommended change. And with that, we've made it through everything on the agenda,
And
so.
when will this go to council then?
This.
Don't we have to do a publication?
Yeah, so just for your information, there will be a resolution of intent that the council will pass next Monday night. But that sets a hearing for a later date on the actual ordinance. So really all the resolution of intent does is say, we've received the recommendation, this is what's going to be heard on this date, which I think because of the notice that we have to provide, it was going to be October 2nd.
Okay.
Because the notices have to go out at least 30 days before the hearing, and just the way that the meetings line up, you kind of almost lose a week and a half in there. So council won't actually hear the ordinance itself until October 2nd, but they'll be passing a resolution next Monday night, getting that set up. So,
And I guess I would just encourage on October 2nd during that hearing then, if we have people there in support of the ordinance, that's always a good thing so we can see that, I know the bid board is recommending it, but it's also good just to see people at the meeting that you're in support of the ordinance as well, so.
okay. And with no other business, we are adjourned.
Next